Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the speaker session for 3 p.m. for Indigi-Show. With me today, I have the pleasure of introducing Eugene Brave Rock, and he will be doing a session about his personal experiences in the movie industry. So we'll be starting pretty soon, but I just want to introduce him. And then I also wanted to say thank you so much for participating, in this collaborative, convention, virtual convention. I was really pleasantly surprised to see that you wanted to participate. So I just want to thank you again for helping us out and speaking.
No problem. I'm glad to represent, and right on. I'm glad you guys, your fundraiser worked out great, and glad to be here to share my experiences.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, and just start whenever you want to, and then I'll just be here managing the waiting room and letting people in.
Okay, so I guess I'll just start off with an introduction of who I am and what I've done. So my name is Eugene Brave Rock. In my language, it's Natuyi Pita. I'm from the blood tribe of the Blackfeet Confederacy. I was born and raised in southern Alberta. But I've also lived all over. I've lived in Utah. I've lived in, London, Paris. I've been able to travel all over. But anyways, the beginning of I'd say my journey to Hollywood from the res was, I think everything in my life has been a stepping stone. Everything that has come along has, even the negative things that have come, on my path have either been a lesson to learn or to be inspired or to learn to maybe know better than not to do things, like through watching things around me. I grew up again on the res, and I am familiar with all the struggles and all the beautiful things as well, which come along with that, family, being a very close-knit family, being close to all my cousins and my relatives, and that community orientated, I don't know, it's how do you explain the res? I guess for me it was good. I had a great upbringing. I had a lot of family that really enforced that pride of being who I am and educating me on knowing who I am and where I come from and how important that was. It was tough growing up on the res, going to non-Indigenous school, going off the res to school and having to deal with all that being that only Indigenous person in the class, having to deal with having long hair, being called a girl, being was again, it was something that, everything that happened to me growing up was something that really enforced and instilled the pride that I have today. Those negative things that happened in school made me stand up stronger and not defend myself, but just exactly that, stand up for who I am and what I believe in, and never give up. I mean, it's been I wouldn't regret anything that happened growing up, even the bad things that happened. I remember being first day moving out of the city, going to school in one of the towns in southern Alberta, and getting discriminated against. I must have been 12, 13 years old, and a grown man driving by, stopping, pulling over and giving me the middle finger, calling me an effing Indian. And, hopefully I can put that in a movie someday. But anyways, I remember standing there and saying, yeah, F yeah. And I'm proud of it too. That's always, again, I always remember that and how it's really, I want to share those stories of our young children that are being discriminated against. And I mean, they're the ones that deal with all the issues with going on in society right now, are young children going to school and having to deal with the issues that are happening within our communities on and off off and on Indian country or reservations and border towns especially. It's yeah, you have to be tough. It's hard not to, it's a struggle for our young kids. It's identity. And then, again, I'm very thankful for my family upbringing that instilled that pride in me. And I know a lot of our young folks don't have that anymore. And so I hope some of the work that I do and the example that I show, that dreams come true. I mean, again, I'm just a kid from the res that has been successful. And it's been stepping stones. It's been a staircase. Everything has been a stepping stone, and sometimes you fall and have to, you have to get back up and keep going. It's always been a struggle. It always will be a struggle. I mean, even right now with what's happening, coming home, I'm seeing so I'm here in Canada right now. I did my 14-day quarantine, and I was up here doing a movie. I had to quarantine for 14 days to do a 1-day shoot. But since I'm up here, I'm working on my language project, coming to visit elders and getting back into the community and again, showing that, our next generation that dreams are possible, dreams are bigger and better than the realities that surround us. And for me, that journey has included, not losing traditional values. It's always been having long hair, singing, dancing, riding horses was huge for me. That's something that and knowing my language, and this is what's taken me around the world, put me in being able to tell stories that otherwise wouldn't have been told. I've spent I think that moment for me, again, being a young Indigenous boy, was watching Geronimo and feeling that pride when I was able to see an Indigenous man on a horse with that, traditional look, and it reminded me of who we are and where we come from, and that's very unique, and it's very, we come from warriors and chiefs, and it's a new day now where it's you don't recognize that anymore. I think there's a big, huge cultural, identity crisis with our people. It's they think being Indigenous is coming from the res, when I feel this is all our land. We're not just from the res. We're products of the res, but that's not who we are or where we come from. This is all our land, and it's been very thankful to be able to tell some of our stories. I feel that being in the movie business is a contemporary way of carrying on our oldest tradition, which is storytelling. And so it's been a great journey, and again, it's coming home. I feel like people think that once you make it, and your life is easy, and it's not that way. It's still always a not a battle, but you still got to keep getting up every morning and then just keeping that routine of being positive and giving thanks, showing gratitude, and gratitude goes a long way. A long way. I mean, even if you're at the bottom of the, in the gutter, there's it could always be worse. And it's, I realized that coming home that it's that it doesn't ever get easy. People think I have that it's gravy, and no, it's still got to get up and make those moves to make things happen. But a part of that, making that happen with me, is not giving up. Learning as many special skills as I could, whether that was, again, riding horses, throwing knives, shooting bow and arrow, staying in shape. Those have all been vital to what I'm doing in the industry, and it's been great. From the res to Hollywood. I live a very, very simple life still. It's not like my life has changed. I think it's been giving me a lot more time to focus on my family. It's been great to be able to travel around the world to be a part of storytelling. Whether that's in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show in Paris, France, or back in Alberta doing period pieces. The Revenant was a great story. It's been, and again, what really did, again, it's doing what I've done. I've heard a million no's. I've had a million more than, I don't know, hundreds of auditions, and I've had 100 no's, but it took that one no to get me that opportunity to speak my language and share it with the rest of the world, to express show a piece of my culture to the world. Our language has never been heard on that platform, and to be able to share that was such an honor. And it has brought me to, that's my legacy now, is to share, to preserve, retain, and educate, share our language. And I'm really learning the true value of our language, not just my language, every Indigenous language. The power of our language is so huge. It connects us to who we are. And that's the land. That's that identity, where identity comes in. And I feel like, 2/3 of Indigenous languages are on the verge of extinction. And if we don't do something about it now, all this knowledge, all this wisdom is going to be lost along with time. It's crucial that we get back to who we are. And with our language, a lot has been taken away from us, and it's with colonialism and with European education. If we can get back to learning our language, the roots of our language, and connecting back to who we are, really. I mean, where I guess I can only speak for myself, or but I'm learning that sometimes these words take days, weeks to tell the story of one word, but it gives you that connection, how it came to be, what its purpose is, what its place is. So when you say this word, you don't misuse, abuse, or take it for granted. Everything that we say in our languages it's a sacred word. It's, going with the law of attraction, you don't say anything negative. So there's power behind everything that you say, where in English, it's not like that. Our languages are interdimensional. They're on they involve quantum physics, where English doesn't. And so I'm really thankful for the opportunities that I've had to to again, speak my language and get a better understanding of the power of language and everything that's behind that, that connects us to life. So it's been, again, I'll do a little, I guess I'll throw a little plug in there. So I got the blackfootlanguagerevival.com website and Blackfoot Language Revival app, as well as the Uki Language Project. Uki was, again, that was the first Blackfoot word I spoke. And just going back into the meaning and the power of language and Blackfoot, Uki, it relates to water. And being that water is that gives life. So in my language, you say water, it's Uki. And when you say hello, it's Uki. So when you're saying hello, you're not really, you're saying you're wishing someone good life. It's not like you're just saying hello. You're actually, it's a very deep meaning. It's like a prayer, so so I'm collecting and getting the meanings from elders of other languages, of their greetings and what their meanings are and how important that is. It's that connection to each other, to the land, to everything's always giving back and giving that balance. So it's very wonderful to hear the stories and especially spend time with our wisdom keepers. Again on here, what else can I speak about my journey to Hollywood? Hasn't been easy, I'll tell you that. I mean, first of all, to get in the door was I did a lot of things that I didn't want to do to be where I'm at, and saying that, when it came to storytelling or dressing, being in a wardrobe or having your hair done, there's issues that came up, like, whether we really would have wore that stuff or how our hair was braided, and what that reality was, if you don't like it, there's 100 other Indians that'll do it. And so I had to play along and then do what I had to do. But now I'm at a point now where I can pick and choose. And so, I mean, that's part of the journey. Having to do things that you don't want to do to get where you're at. And so it's very nice now. I mean, I could be an advocate for different things. Even when we have elders on set to show the different kind, a lot of the people in the movie business don't know that kind of the protocols that go along with doing certain things. And, so I'm very thankful to be able to learn and share. I think, being able to travel around the world and learn other languages, not, all over Turtle Island, but also Europe. I was in Europe when I realized, the value, it was a stepping stone, and it made me reflect on who I am, where I grew up. And so in Europe, when I went to Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, everybody spoke 4 or 5 different languages, because Europe is so small, and there's you can, travel a couple hours and be in a different country. And so everybody knew different languages, and you had to learn the language of the land, that the people who you stand on. And I think that's something that here on Turtle Island, that everybody could learn, and learn the language of the people whose land you stand on, whether you're Tongva or Blackfoot or Cree or Navajo or Seminole, right? I think it's very important to have that acknowledgement. Something that I think was very, very important to learn in my travels through Europe. Again, it was language. I had to learn French because I because I was living in France, to order food, to get, for directions to, food was important. You don't know what you're eating when you're in different countries, so it's important to, and I do the same thing here in Turtle Island. Every Indigenous community I go to, I try and learn the language of, whether it's greetings or thank you or. So again, I'm very thankful for all that, for the opportunity to. It doesn't happen very often in the movie industry, or to bring an Indigenous hero to light. Starting off as a stunt guy or an extra, and it was always a fight scene or a battle scene coming out of the bush war crying and being kind of a villain, but now it's nice to. I'm so thankful to be part of a time where we're telling our own stories, where we have a lot more Indigenous writers, directors, producers, actors, and being able to tell our own stories. Very thankful to be, and for the work that I see coming. I see a lot of great stories coming out.
If I may say something, we can do some. Can you hear me? Microphone could be weird. We could do some questions real quick if you would like, Eugene.
Sure, that's
Okay.
fine.
So we have one question. First question from Dawn. She says, "What was your first big break into Hollywood, and how did it make you feel?"
My first break into Hollywood. Well, I don't know. I think I think it's been a lot of different steps that I've taken to get into Hollywood. But I'd say let me see. In the beginning, I started off in theater actually, and I did a couple extra things that didn't pay too well, and then I ended up getting on Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee as a extra. First day on set, I was approached by a stunt coordinator or a wrangler and asked if I could ride horses. And that was actually, I think that was my big break, because if I didn't do that, if I didn't get into riding horses, I don't think I would have continued doing what I was doing. Just because I knew the money wasn't good enough. But it was after that, it was. I mean, that's why I received the roles that I had. I think was because I could ride horses. So I think that was one of that's what really got my foot in the door. Definitely was riding horses.
Let's see, Kit said they would like to hear more about your the language project, the Blackfoot Revival.
So the Blackfoot Language Revival is, I came up with 400 words, common phrases, and sayings, and so then I whether that's your colors, your numbers, your animals, trees, and common phrases and sayings like I'm gonna brush my teeth, my hair. And hear the stories of, the challenge of having an old language and a newer language, both like two styles of Blackfoot. So there's an old style and a new style, and then English, and it's a struggle. It's but at the same time, you know what? It's also invoking memories, and it's bringing back a lot of old words that they don't use anymore. They're like, oh, they're remembering. It's great to see that. You know, our elders, it's bringing them some energy, bringing them back to life, and it's been a, it's always good to talk to elders, and that's one thing I really want to throw out there to encourage, who you are, wherever you are, to record your elders. We all have that ability with phones and social media these days, with even the audio recorder. Record your elders. Record words, like I said, numbers, colors, sayings, greetings, salutations. It's important. It's gonna come. What I'm tired of is looking up knowledge, and when you Google something about your tribe and it refers you to a non-Indigenous source. So with what I'm doing, I really want to bring my program and bring it back to other reservations and other, and have that Indigenous database of wisdom and knowledge, so we can, again, unite ourselves through language. Actually, I was, the first time my language was recorded, it was 1835, I think, in this book, and there was 5 other languages that were in there, and it was nice to see all these how to say hello in 5 different Indigenous languages, but wouldn't that be nice to do it in all, every language in Turtle Island? I mean, every Indigenous language in the world, for that matter. So again, I challenge you guys, challenge anybody, any of the young people out there, to record your story. Record where your last name comes from. I know it goes back again to identity, who you are and where you come from. That's the first story you should know. And I know a lot of our people don't know where they come from, or what their names mean, or how it was mistranslated, for that matter, So it's the language program is very, I hope for me, it's planting a tree, and I don't expect to see the fruits of my labor, but I hope my children's children's children will still be able to understand Blackfoot, with some of the work that I'm trying to do. And then, it's bigger than me. It's again, it goes back to identity.
Thank you. We have one more question from Ida. They said, oh wait, my microphone. So we have one more question from Ida. What are you excited about for the future? Are you excited for a more Indigenous future?
Yes, of course. You know what? It's that time for us to shine in the arts industry. Whether it's language and dancing, singing, it's like I said, I do social media and the outlets we have every opportunity to express and save and retain and educate our not just our own people, but our allies as well. I do see a very positive. I have a 4-year-old son, and you have to be positive in this world. I think that's one of the secrets to life is to be positive, and when in any situation you're in, it goes back to, again, sacredness. Everything happens for a reason, and we're put here for a purpose. And there's always something better out there. Again, I think, being in the storytelling business, again, I do see a lot of opportunities, a lot of doors that are open for us that weren't there before.
Mm-hmm. More platforms, more venues.
Exactly. Stuff like this, definitely.
Yeah.
Again, I really want to connect with the grassroots people, because I come from the grassroots people. And I feel like a lot of our grassroots people are not heard. They're not. I feel like, I don't know. I come from Canada. Again, I can only speak for myself and my own experiences, and coming home to see what I'm seeing with all the, it's changed in even 5 years. And the need for us to have these platforms is so important. Again, we need to express, Indigenous people need to express our successes, not just, look at the negative aspects, the negative things that are happening, right? Because we do have a lot of successes. We do have a lot of, whether it's doctors, lawyers, and it's not just actors and celebrities. It's, we have a very, very
it's a multitude of people in the
yeah,
community working together from
exactly.
different aspects, different
That's
jobs.
what we need to do is connect more on that basis. I mean, again, another thing I feel like when saying that, all our people that have been, are getting educated and in these positions, we also need to share that. I guess that's power, right? When you get educated, but you got to bring that power back to our people.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like there is a lot of, once you get educated and get a good job, and then you lose that sense of community. So I think it is important to always stay connected, and again, remember who you are and where you come from.
Mm-hmm. Tashina asked, what has been the most interesting part of your career?
I don't know. It's coming home, coming full circle to I'm on the res right now, and to know that I was a little kid running around here, and it's interesting to come home and see how so many things have still stayed the same, and yet still so different. It's there's so many interesting things that have come into my, it's been a long journey, right? It's been and that's a movie within itself. I feel like I lived 10 lifetimes already, living in Paris, London, and different places, different situations, and having the opportunity to travel where not a lot of our people have been. It's been great. Again, it's nice to experience other cultures, other ways of life, and to share my own.
Yeah. Dawn says that a year ago, she went to work in early childhood in her Indigenous community, teaching for 10 years in a border town Head Start. And she's in her community that is revitalizing the Diné language and for herself. She's learned so much of her own language and she's very proud to speak it. And she's glad that many other Indigenous communities are doing the same.
You know what? That's great. I commend. I applaud that. I encourage that. I feel like that's who I want to connect with. Is our children. It's so crucial that we again get back to our children and those different value systems. Our value systems ran around community and wellness, not greed and money and economy. Right? I feel like right now, I don't know if every place is different, but where I'm at right now, it is statistic wise, our children are getting taken away still and going into non-Indigenous families, and I feel like, in Canada, they had the residential schools and they had them in America as well. The residential boarding school programs where kids were taken away. And they're still getting taken away, but I feel like we as Indigenous people, we need to set it up so we don't lose them. Set up a Indigenous
Support
healing lodge,
system.
Indigenous healing lodge, where all our children's in care have to go and they learn nothing but their Indigenous language. They don't even learn English until they're 16. Instead of going off into non-Indigenous families and then they turn 18 and then they get kicked out and they're on the streets, or they don't know who to connect with, or their identity is gone. I mean, I really believe it's structured that way. It's systematically, you know, it's these conditions are being placed on us
Mm-hmm.
through government and just the way things run, right? And I feel like, you know, I'm not getting any younger, and you know, even in my own community, a lot of the people that I've grown up with are passing away, and our next generation is already compromised with the effects of, I guess, colonization or residential school or whatever you want it, tribal economics, tribal lack of leadership,
Mm-hmm.
and it's you know what, I feel like our grassroots people need a voice, need some role model. We have a lot of role models. We need to get out there and connect more with our kids, our youth, traditionally, respectfully. You know, that's and all the politics that come into play are just, you know, it eats up money, like the red tape and all the politics that happen. It never reaches the grassroots people, leaders, and people are traveling and while people in their home, you know, back on the res are suffering the consequences. But I don't know, again, I feel like, you know, you got to look at the good things. And for me, it always takes me back to language. You know, that's the roots of who we are, what connects us to the land. That's our identity. And I have hope that, you know, with today's technology and, you know, finding a contemporary way of educating, you know, mixing that education, that traditional aspect with
Mm-hmm.
with Western, again, education systems. So it gives them more of a reflection of our value systems. I mean, the things that I'm learning are so important. Our people had everything, you know, and they make Indigenous people look simple and you know, where the diagrams and the stuff that I'm looking at, you know, it goes right down to showing the glands. Different glands are different colors and different teepee designs, and you know, that just goes to show that we had that knowledge, that wisdom of you know, of the human anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's just so much, again, that we've lost that we need to get back to, and
Things to reclaim,
yeah, things to reclaim.
revitalize.
Exactly,
Mm-hmm.
decolonize. Yes, that whole value system. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard. It's hard when everything runs on that system.
Mm-hmm. We have a question from Kelly. What is the first thing or concept you have to let go of in order to feel empowered and strong as an Indigenous actor?
What do I have to let go of?
Yeah, in order to feel empowered as an Indigenous actor.
I don't know. Ego, I guess. I don't know. I think feel empowered. I don't think you have to let go of anything. I think it's just, again, educating yourself on who you are, knowing who you are and where you come from.
Feeling comfortable and confident,
Yes,
probably
exactly.
as well.
I think, you know what, for me, I think, like, when it comes to acting, I don't know. It's again, I got into business riding horses, being a stunt guy, and
Mm-hmm.
always having that stoic look, or the, you know, the mean Indian look or whatever, right? So
Just
I'm
squinting.
always, yeah, the square, yeah. But it's so for me, while doing Wonder Woman, you know, I really learned a lot from Ewan Bremner,
Mm,
uh, where just watching him standing off set and realizing this guy just throws himself out there with no backbone, leaving himself vulnerable. Like, I was like, oh my God, how did he do that? Like, wow, you know,
mm-hmm.
it's leaving yourself so exposed, and that's what acting's all about, right? And so I
Mm-hmm.
think that's something that I have I still have issues doing. I mean, for me, it's easy to be a stunt guy because I just got to stand there and look mean and solid and then possibly get hurt or whatever. But it's
Yeah.
when you're acting and you have to show emotion and whether that's love or sadness or vulnerability, right? It's you
Hmm.
got to let go of that backbone, and so that's something that I guess you gotta lose to be an
Mm.
actor. Is lose that backbone.
I have a question, personally for me. Um, do you have any like fun memories from your work as an actor and a stuntman? Any positive moments that came through?
You know what? I think, again, everything was, I'm really thankful for every opportunity.
Hmm.
Um, going to Buffalo Bill's Wild West show in Paris, France was a big stepping stone for me. And, it's kind of, I had to go to Europe in order to learn how to chase wild buffalo. It's kind
Mm.
of sad,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm so thankful for that opportunity. And, you know, I think the best stunt scenes that I've done have been, moments where when they say cut, it's like everybody starts clapping, and it's like, wow, like you can feel the energy in the moment, and those times, I think there's been a lot of moments like that where the scene just falls together as a stunt guy, and it looks amazing, and you get that standing ovation, like right at that after the moment when they say cut,
Hmm.
right, and it's been very, you know,
So
been
special
that,
types of craftsmanship that you have to
yeah,
do
it's a
to,
natural high, I guess, right? The
yeah.
adrenaline going, and then I mean, you fall off your horse and you roll around and you
Hmm.
land right in camera where you're supposed to be, and everything, works out the way it's planned.
Hmm.
It's, yeah, there's been a lot of moments like that where you get recognized. So
Yeah. Let me just, oh, Kit. Kit said, "What is Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, and what was your role in the show?"
Buffalo Bill's Wild West show is the world's, or was that it's probably shut down now, but it was the world's largest live dinner theater where there was cowboys and Indians from North America. There was a handful of Native Americans, and they had a handful of Europeans that played Native Americans. So there wasn't enough of us in the show that we were a full Native crew.
Hmm.
But um, so we just, it was a live dinner theater where we did stunts, where we did different games, where it was a very entertaining show. It was nice for me as an actor. It was a huge stepping stone for me to be in a big theatrical show, and learn different parts of learn different, every experience is something to take and put under your belt, right? And that was a big one for me. There's some of my friends who've been there like 30 years, 40, I don't know, going on 40 years probably. I spent a year there.
Mm.
I realized it was had other stepping stones. I had to, again, I came home, and it elevated me in my position and for riding horses and doing stunts, where I
Hmm.
was called on more often. So
Yeah. So you lived there for a year then in Paris.
yeah, so
Was it?
Paris, it's at Paris Disneyland, at the Euro Disneyland they have in Paris. So there's a train station right there, Marne-la-Vallée it's called. So it was so when every time I watch a movie now, a Disney movie with my son, I always remind him, hey, Daddy used to live behind that little, you see the castle, right? I had a,
No. How cute.
I also tell people when they go to Disneyland, if they see that Mickey Mouse, he still owes me some money. Tell him,
He owes me some money. I lent him
yeah,
some.
he
Make sure he
doesn't know.
knows.
They didn't pay me my last paycheck, so
Oh, I still remember.
So when you tell Brave Rock, you owe Brave Rock some money.
Mm. Oh, Ida has another question. They're a lighting designer technician. Do you have any funny or notable lighting stories you can think of?
I don't know. I have lighting stories. Crazy how you can do a scene and 1 o'clock at night and make it look like daytime.
Mm.
I've done some scenes like that where you're so tired and you got to keep shooting. Yeah. Other than that, no. I mean, I don't know. A crazy lighting story. The lighting crew for Wonder Woman was amazing. It was it was huge.
Mm.
Biggest production I've been on, and to see that was huge. Such a every I guess every aspect of Wonder Woman was on a big scale. But the lighting was amazing. They had like 10 different tracks with big lights on them, big bounce boards, and just like it's huge. Such a big production.
Hmm. I have a question regarding that production, the Wonder Woman production. I heard in an interview that you got to design your own clothes, or you got to choose your own clothes for the
So
movie.
no, I mean I did, but I didn't.
Oh,
So
okay.
um, I went in for a fitting, and the costume designer, amazing designer. She won awards for Batman. But anyway, she just asked, "Hey, do you have any Blackfoot designs you want to share?" You know, so I did. I shared some, and what else? Like, I was able to wear my choker. That's
Mm-hmm.
my choker that I wore. The earrings were mine, and what else? Just the different options on different things, right? I got to choose, but it wasn't like it was all on me. The
Mm-hmm.
costume
It
designer
was
was
like a mix
amazing.
of both.
Yeah,
Yeah, them and you.
it was great. I'm very, again, having that opportunity to develop my character the way I did is unheard of for me, anyways. Like I said, I've been on, a lot of movie sets, and it's always you wear this. This is
You
what you're
act
gonna
like
wear.
this. You talk like
Yeah,
this.
and so in that being in that show really gave me the power to develop, right down to saying my name, right
Mm-hmm.
when I introduced myself as Napi. Napi's a Blackfoot demigod. So
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning it was more of a question of like, hey, what's your issues with stereotypes, and what do you have an issue, what do you have an issue with being called chief? And I was like, yes. I was like, those are fighting words. And she knew that. She said, I understand, out of respect to you and your culture, you don't ever have to call yourself chief. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, I'll let you introduce yourself in your own language. And I was like, yes. She's like, come up with your own name
Mm-hmm.
and get back to me with it, and we'll discuss it. Right. So, I went through and I did a bunch of research on Native American veterans
Mm.
to honor one of our veterans. And there was so many, Francis Pegamegabo, and there's so many and I came down to one that came from my res, Mike Mountain Horse, but I didn't have I couldn't do the right protocol to use his name. If
Mm-hmm.
you mean,
Yeah.
and so I going into auditions, going into the things that storytelling or acting, I'll put down some tobacco and ask our storyteller, who is Napi, to walk in my shoes and help me play the character the best way I could. And when I did that, I thought, hey, what about Napi, right? Why? Wonder Woman's dad's a Greek god, and so why can they have a Blackfoot demigod in there?
That to
You
have
know?
that divinity,
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, from my creation story, Wonder Woman would have been Napi's granddaughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was nice to again develop that character the way that
Yeah.
happened.
I think the way you develop that character in the way that you know, expressed yourself through this character, you know, through your actions and your words during the movie. I think it was just such a big first step for like positive Indigenous representation within, you know, movie media, because I could tell, like, you know, I didn't know anything about you until the movie came out. I knew that you had taken care for this character and you developed it further than it could have been, you know, because if you think of Indigenous characters in like popular media adaptations, you know, it's like people don't really think about us. But with yours, it was such, you know, thoughtful, you know, caringness, and just like, you know, your technical craftsmanship, you know, really shown, and you know, the costuming, just all of these elements combined together to create a satisfying, you know, expression of this character. And I just wanted to thank you, you know, one Indigenous person to another, thank you so much for that
Thank
role.
you very much. Thank you for the feedback. It does mean a lot, definitely. I know it's, you know, that was the hardest part of doing Wonder Woman, was not being able to say anything
Mm-hmm.
for by like 2.5 years. Oh yeah, I'm in Wonder Woman, by the way, right? I wasn't able to express, you know, I was looking forward to it so much, but by the time it got there, I was like, oh well, yeah, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
it was a hard secret to keep.
Yeah. It was a hard secret for me to keep when you approached me in the email. I screamed when I got your application, and I ran downstairs. I was like, Bob, Eugene Brave Rock. What? You know, she was like, what are you talking about? Are you okay? You know, that just relating to that, another big secret.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad, you know, again, I'm here to, you know, I see so many different fundraisers and different platforms and different things for our people to connect, and I'm out there to support all our Indigenous people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's a time again to invest in our own communities, invest in our own people, in business, whether it's business or culture or you know, whatever it is, singing and dancing. You know, it's a time, I think, again to retain less of what we have left, because like I said, I don't want our children's children to have to look up Indigenous knowledge and be referred to a non-Indigenous source. So again, I encourage anybody that's listening to follow me on social media and follow my websites, and you know, I'm always looking out to, I'm waiting for funding, not funding, I'm waiting for some crowdfunding actually. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to I don't want to tap into tribal funds or government funds to be restricted in what I can and can't do, right? And
Yep.
so crowdfunding is how I'm working it to again reach back into the communities. I have a lot of connections already made and different ideas that are happening that, you know, once they take off, like I'm ready to put full force into again retaining our culture, not just mine, everybody's,
Mm-hmm.
and to reach out to different elders in different communities, and again use that same framework I have for my language and for their language, so that we can again look up a database of Indigenous knowledge by Indigenous people, from the elders themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
From our knowledge keepers themselves. So it's I think it's a big task to take on, and I
Mm-hmm.
hope that, I mean, for me, I believe it's something, it has to, there's so much knowledge and wisdom out there that this will go beyond my lifetime,
Mm-hmm.
and just happy to be, you know, again, that we're at an age now where we can express our views, and have the outlet to share,
On a
and
wider
to,
scale too.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. I mean, like, we're on a world level, right? And it's able to connect, because again, we do have a lot of allies. You know, it's nice to connect, definitely. To be, you know, again, I'm on the res. I'm like, oh wow, we got Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. Now I'm unstoppable.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. There's no excuse. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, again, if I had any advice for people with getting, you know, if they want to get into the music or in the movie business or any business, it's never give up. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everything happens for a reason, and always keep that in the back of your head of your goals, your aspirations, and you know, like I said, I had a million no's when going into auditions, and I just needed that one that let me express my language, my culture,
Mm-hmm.
and make movie history, right? So
Yeah, exactly. Um, do we have any more questions from the audience? I think we're drawing to a close. So we can accept maybe, what do you feel like, Eugene? Maybe two more, three more?
sure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So just let us know, everyone. Just put them in the chat and I'll read them out loud for Eugene. Yeah. We just put the hour and 30 minutes to try to kind of just give enough time. But you know, if it ends a little shorter than usual, then that's fine too. But yeah, just want to go with what you want to go with.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if can you tell how many viewers are on?
We have 9 viewers at the moment.
Oh wow,
Like
we're at,
more and more came in as the
we'll ask some more questions. We need some more questions.
yeah. Come on, guys, don't be shy. Oh, okay, we got one for Kit. Can you recommend any other Indigenous actors or directors whose work we should watch?
Any of and all of them. I'm Jeff Barnaby. I know he just came out with Blood Quantum. Um, I know that what's the other guy? There's so many. There is. Wow, you put me on the spot. Everything's on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, there is. There's a lot of us out there. There's a lot. I think there's just been a lot of, especially with the current situation with people of color. I think that there's a lot more investments into the storytelling of our stories.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was here in Canada. I think there was a lot of investment from telefilm into the music industry or into the movie industry. Sorry. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I heard Netflix bought a big studio down in Albuquerque, and it is nice to go to different, you know, working on a set and you see Indigenous people on the set too, as well as not in front of the camera, but behind the camera as well. And, you know, Winnipeg's also a good place to go to for
Yeah.
that kind of.
I have a suggestion. I haven't seen it yet, but there was a movie that came out. It's called Edge of the Knife. It's a Tlingit and Haida movie. This is the first and only film made completely in the Haida language. And I think it's available on Apple Films online. I think it's streaming right now, but I heard that was a pretty good Indigenous film to check out.
Yeah, there's so many that are coming out. I mean, Tonka Means just had. I think he's releasing something too. Tonka Means is a good buddy of mine that has,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a lot of stuff coming out. Jason Momoa had, I think something. He had another Indigenous project as well. I think he was producing coming out.
Mm, yeah, lots of stuff. Oh, Tashina has a question. As an Indigenous actor, do you believe that only playing Native roles confines you to that particular role? And what is your dream role to play?
Confining. You know what? I would want to get it. I'd love to get some work where it didn't matter that I was Indigenous. I guess I don't know. It's, you know, I get that question a lot of representation and how it matters. And yes, it does. I mean, but as an actor, you can look at it. I mean, you look at it as a different view, I guess. Like Cliff Curtis. He's Maori from New Zealand, but he's played every race in the book, whether it was Mexican or Colombian or, you know, it'd be nice to play a role where being Indigenous didn't matter, but I think I'm typecast. Just I don't know. Hopefully that no, actually there's some stuff that have come up where it didn't matter, but it's I think my heart really is into telling my own stories and so my dream role, what would it be? I don't know. Again, I think expanding that hero figure and having a Indigenous superhero that saves the world would be great. Have our own Indigenous Black Panther.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
cool. I think you would do really great at that role when it gets created. Oh, Don has one. Back in 2000, we could watch North of 60 from the CBC on our outdoor TV antenna. I loved that show. Did you ever watch it?
That was such a big inspiration to me because where I live, that's not like it's not too far to Calgary where they were filming it, and it was, I knew some of the actors in there. I knew actually that's kind of how I got into acting in a sense, not North of 60, but so in honor, I guess there was an actor. His name was Mervyn Goodigo. He was the young boy on North of 60. His name was Joey on television. And he actually committed suicide, and so they did a theatrical play that showed the signs of suicide to bring awareness to the signs of suicide and how important it was, so that was actually how I got into theater. I played this character where my girlfriend committed suicide, but that was all in memory of Mervyn Goodigo, who was on North of 60. So that was a show that was very inspiring. I mean, it was the only show you've seen Indians on, I think, back then. It was, and so many great actors came out of there, right? Tom Jackson, Nathaniel Arcand, Adam was on there, Tina Keeper, was, Wilma Pelly, the old lady on the elder on there, and I still run into her nowadays.
Oh,
it's amazing that she remembered me from 10 years ago. I met her. I was just in that. I was on Braemar at Wounded Knee longer than 10 years ago, and I ran into her last year, and she was like, she totally remembered who I was. She has a better memory than I do. So North of 60 was huge, though. North of 60 is a great show. The music, I could still hear it in my. As soon as you said North of 60, I could hear the music in my.
I'll have to check that out. I feel like it sounds familiar, and now I'm like, oh, I should probably watch that. Yeah. I think as as Indigenous people, we tend to get really attached to films and media that showcase us, even if it's not like like a super big production. We still have this like deep appreciation for it.
When I was a kid, I'd watch shows and just to see that, that one Native American in the show. Oh, there's an Indian in that show, so I'd rent it, right?
It
was very influential, right? So I hope that, I hope that I inspire. For me, it's, I hope I inspire our youth. I hope I can honor our elders by inspiring our youth to remember who they are and where they come from, whether that's through language and or seeing me on the big screen, to know that, hey, if this guy can make it, I can make it. That's definitely how I feel. So.
I think that's a great sentiment. Well, I think that was the last question. I mean, we could wait for more, but
it's up to you. I said that's up to you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Let's get people on.
Yeah. But yeah, this will all be recorded, and then we'll make it more accessible in the future. We're planning on making the Indigi-Show website, public after I think 2 weeks or a week and a half. So then we'll have the videos, all the sessions, we'll have it up for people to view. So, you know, for people who were unable to make it, you know, they'll be able to watch all of them. And
Awesome. Right on. I'll share the link when you have it ready.
yeah, and then I'll give you, you know, the link once it's ready. Yeah. Thank you so very much for coming on and, you know, joining the Indigi-Show team and, you know, doing this really great speaker session. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. It was great, and thank you for the opportunity.
Mhm. Yeah, and have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Mhm.
Get a mutton.
Yeah, thank you.